people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
What's up, baby? It's day 3. The first day, how much, Cole? Hey, house. First day, how many rounds?
First day, 18.
18 round first.
21.
21 in second.
25.
25 the third day.
Yeah.
Shit. Hey, this what it take, man. If it ain't hard work, then I don't want it. It take a lot of dedication and hard work, a lot of discipline, a lot of motivation, a lot of bravery, a peaceful mind, a happy place, visualization, meditation, all those elements combined together. Man.
It appears that the Bronze Bomber has, in fact, gone into camp for his upcoming fight. To that, Tyson Fury states, I think Wilder is a piece of shit. As a person, I hope that Andy Ruiz knocks him out on the premise that Andy Ruiz ends up being the next man that he fights.
In my previous video, we talked about how the WBC ordered that fight in order to crown the next mandatory challenger for the green belt.
The fight services as a segue to the winner of Fury versus Usyk, set to go down in the first quarter of next year.
I keep asking myself, if Wilder beats Ruiz and Fury beats Usyk, did I really want to put Wilder in there with Fury for a 4th time?
I would like to see Andy Ruiz knock this motherfucker's ass out, Fury told BoxingScene.com, because I'm sick of looking at Deontay Wilder. I need another man to train for. I need another guy to fight. We fought 3 times already. I think the guy's a piece of shit as a person. I don't like him. He's an excuse maker. He gets beat by a better man on the night, and he can't take it. So he's got to think up a million reasons why he lost. So he's not a great sportsman, in my opinion, and I hope Ruiz knocks him out cold.
A hopeful Fury laughed and admitted, however, that it's more likely that the hard-hitting Wilder knocks Ruiz unconscious.
I hope so, but probably not, Fury said. Probably Wilder will hit him with 1 shot and knock him out cold. But I hope Andy smashes his ass. The 37-year-old Wilder returned successfully October 15th from his devastating 11th round knockout loss to Fury a year earlier. The Tuscaloosa, Alabama native knocked out Robert Helenius with a right hand late in the first round of their 12-round main event at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Fury should be careful what he wishes for, because if he gets his wish and Andy Ruiz ends up knocking out Deontay Wilder,
Not saying that I think he will or won't so much as if he does, what does that make Deontay Wilder? You know, Tyson Fury gets more credit for the Wilder fights than he got for the Klitschko win.
he himself spends more time talking up Deontay Wilder as a victory than he does Klitschko.
Even though in my book, the victory over Klitschko is worth a lot more merit than the victory over the very limited Deontay Wilder, who reigned as a champion for something like 5 years and never unified any titles.
He was never lineal, never Ring Magazine, never unified anything.
Of all his title defenses, he only fought one solid fighter, just one semi-quasi-solid fighter in a then unbeaten Luis Ortiz.
It was a good win for Wilder at the time. I don't take that away from him, but Luis Ortiz's resume is about as thin as Deontay Wilder's.
So let's say Andy Ruiz, who just beat Luis Ortiz, won a points decision, beats Wilder too. Suddenly beating Wilder isn't the monumental achievement that Tyson Fury and some others make it out to be. Not if Andy does it too.
And what does that say about you?
Oh, styles make fights, and you know, different fighters have different styles, Fury said. We'll see what happens with all these great matchups, but one thing I know is there are some great matchups to be had in a heavyweight division right now. I'd like to see Usyk and Wilder. I'd like to see Joshua and Wilder. I'd like to see Wilder fight them all. I'd like to see Wilder have a go at all these guys. I want to see if they can do any damage to the Bronze Bomber.
I don't know that Tyson Fury's gonna get that wish.
I don't know that all these things that Tyson Fury hopes to see will ever come to be.
He's hoping that Andy Ruiz knocks out Deontay Wilder, but if he does,
Beating Deontay Wilder will no longer mean what it meant before Tyson Fury did it. There's that to consider. And even if Deontay Wilder makes it past Andy Ruiz, knocks him out.
what's he gonna do after that? Who's he gonna fight?
In a world without borders, in a boxing landscape without political boundary lines to limit the autonomy of fighters, you can mix and match Wilder's name with any number of other names that are out there, and you will get interesting matchups. But this is hardly an ideal world. Ideal.
How things work in the world of boxing is seldom ever described as ideal.
There's been renewed interest in a Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua fight beyond the both of their upcoming fights. Wilder's presumed fight opposite the ring, Andy Ruiz, and Anthony Joshua. His next fight, what is set to be a rebound fight in the first quarter of next year. There's been renewed interest in a matchup between them.
But I don't know that this isn't just more of the same of what we used to see in 2018. I don't know that all this talk from the Wilder people about fighting Anthony,
Do they really want this fight? Or do they just want promotion by way of name association? Tell them age over there at the PBC.
commonplace and customary.
Say you want to fight the guy, on what platform does the fight take place? With Fox set to leave the sport of boxing beyond this year. Fox, where Wilder's been fighting his last few fights. What's he going to do? Is he going to cross over to the zone? Or is he going to start up about how Showtime needs to be involved?
Showtime, where Wilder hasn't fought since the Dominic Breazeale fight.
2019. It's yet to be determined whether or not we're going to see Deontay Wilder really mix it up with the other who's who guys at heavyweight. And given his
He
age,
ain't got all the time in the world.
we'll see what happens. Of course, Wilder's 37, going on 38 years old. He's closer to 40 than he is to 30, that's for goddamn sure.
40-something fights, something like 8 or 9 surgeries to the same arm.
They say they want to revisit the Joshua fight, and there is renewed interest in that fight, but are they being serious? Eddie Hearn revealed where things stand for a Joshua and Wilder fight very recently.
Will it happen next year, or will this go down in history as yet another fight that got away?
This generation's Bull versus Lewis. The annals of boxing history are riddled with fights that should have happened, could have happened, but didn't. Eddie Hearn has spoken out in response to rumors that Anthony Joshua may fight former WBC champion and notorious power puncher Deontay Wilder next year. Joshua and Wilder were in negotiations back in 2018 when they both were champions for an undisputed fight. Those talks ultimately collapsed and the two went their separate ways. Since then, both men have lost their world titles, but the aura of a fight and how it would play out still remains. Both AJ and Wilder are seen as the men who revived the heavyweight scene in their respective countries after a run of Eastern European dominance in the division.
A fight between Anthony and Deontay here today makes a lot of fucking money, with or without world titles on the line. The real question is, how serious, how committed are the Wilder people to doing this fight?
Because Wilder's actions, or the lack thereof, are what led to Tyson Fury's resurgence in the heavyweight scene. Lest we forget, Deontay is the architect of his own downfall, his own demise. He sought out Tyson Fury as an alternative to a Joshua fight.
Fury wasn't as mandatory. Wilder never had to fight him. He chose to fight him.
It's likely because he thought it was going to be easy.
He thought wrong.
Years later, this is the aftermath. This is the end result. So now, after all this time, can they revive Joshua versus Wilder as a fight? Well, according to Eddie, the communication lines now are good between me and Shelly Finkel, Wilder's manager. We had a lot of talks, a lot of chats, but until the training team is confirmed for AJ, we really won't make any opponent selection because we want the input of a trainer. We've got 3 or 4 guys that we're talking to and ready to try and make a move for. But at the end of the day, we've got to make sure that the training team are comfortable with that. Wilder has been ordered to fight Andy Ruiz. I'm guessing that is what he is going to do next. At the same time, we'd like Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder in the interim or AJ in the summer. We will have to see, but it looks like Wilder will fight Ruiz and AJ will fight at the end of March, April, and Dillian Whyte may fight as well, and I think they're all going to come together in the summer.
What are Deontay Wilder's options if he don't fight AJ?
He's about 3 or 4 years older than Anthony Joshua. He certainly is closer to 40 than Anthony is.
I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but he's not the same draw here in America that Anthony still is in the United Kingdom. I mean, look at the buy rate for his last pay-per-view, 77,000.
Down from 600,000 in the third installment of Wilder vs. Fury. 600,000.
From 600,000 buys with a Tyson Fury trilogy to 77,000 opposite the ring Robert Helenius.
It's a pretty sharp decline. You could argue that he can certainly sell more pay-per-views opposite the ring Andy Ruiz than what he just sold opposite the ring Robert Helenius, and that might be true to some extent, it might be, but beyond that, what then?
What are his options?
What does he do if he does end up knocking out Andy Ruiz? What other fights like the Ruiz fight?
What fights on the scale of a Joshua fight do they have for him on the PBC side of things?
Oh yeah, Wilder's got options if he's willing to expand his horizons, if he's willing to play ball.
But if this is all going to just devolve into a my side of the street versus your side of the street thing, if this is going to just be more of that.
Okay, hotshot, all right. Let's say you don't fight AJ, you don't play ball. You stay on your side of the street. What do you do while you're over there? Hey, Anthony can always turn around and fight Filip Hrgovic for IBF interim status. He could fight Zhilei Zhang. He can do that rematch with Dillian.
And he can swap punches with Otto Wallin, a common opponent between him and Tyson Fury, unless we forget, he can always fight Tyson Fury if Fury beats Usyk.
He's got options, lucrative ones. But if Deontay don't play ball and he stays on the PBC side of things, what are his options?
What's he gonna do? Who's he gonna fight? Frankie Sanchez?
The Joshua fight is still the biggest money fight out there for Deontay Wilder. He's already been there and done that with Tyson Fury 3 times. Nobody wants to see a fourth fight, and the fourth fight wouldn't go any differently than the last 2 fights did.
Yeah, I can think up some alternatives, like a Dubois fight.
Oh yeah, he can knock out a Daniel Dubois.
He can.
Think up some alternatives, like a Joe Joyce fight. No, Joe Joyce, he would be a high-risk, low-reward guy for Deontay. Certainly wouldn't yield the same commercial value as a Joshua fight.
Yeah, they can make some money with Wilder versus Joyce, but not the same kind of money they'd make with Wilder versus Joshua.
So do you see what I mean? There is some emphasis on the Deontay Wilder side of things. To play ball.
You're 37 years old. The biggest bang for your buck fight out there still is the Joshua fight. More so than any other fight I can think of.
What are you gonna do? You gonna fight for this thing or you gonna fight for this thing?
Or you're not gonna fight for this thing. It's gonna devolve into another your side of the street versus my side of the street thing. At which point you stay on your side of the street to fight who?
Do what? If you're not gonna fight AJ, you might as well retire. That's the most money you can hope to make at this point.
You know, I think about Wilder going to the United Kingdom and what kind of reception that would get for a guy like Dillian Whyte.
If he's willing to play ball, he can actually make a lot of money with that fight. That fight sells.
En route to a Joshua fight as a prelude in the build-up.
It's just a suggestion, but a lucrative one. Deontay Wilder, if he's willing to play ball and expand his horizons, he can still make a lot of money at this.
At this point, he can, if he's willing to play ball.
Real question is he? How earnest is this interest in doing a Joshua fight? One way or another, we're gonna find out.
What the fuck? Like, come on, bro. Like, what you waiting for, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? What you fuck is you waiting for? Like, I'm tired of people, man. Like, I'm on that type time, bro. Like, I'm on, like, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I'm just like, people been getting on my nerves, bro. But the crazy thing is it's the fans. I'm not saying it's the Japan fans. It's the U.S. fans that be getting on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going at nobody, but specifically who I'm going at, like the motherfuckers that keep talking dumbass. Me and MJ was supposed to been fight. That was supposed to been happen. Like, what the fuck is the hold?
Well, what did either you or your team do to make that fight happen? Make that fight with MJ Akhmadaliev a reality. This is Damage Control. if it's anything. Taking to his social media and attempting to appeal to what followers he does have to lay the blame at the feet of other fighters and other teams. It's everyone else's fault.
Ever since news broke that Stephen Fulton would be moving up to featherweight to take on Brandon Figueroa for a second time, ever since news broke that the WBO has made Naoya Inoue a WBO super champion, a designation that would allow him to move up in weight and become Stephen's mandatory straight away. Ever since all this news broke, Stephen Fulton has been on the receiving end of a lot of criticism. And it's because of how it looks. It's because Stephen Fulton spent the last year or so talking about a Naoya Inoue fight so that he could then make a move upstairs before Naoya Inoue.
And look, we've already been through this. In a nutshell,
People aren't stupid. They're noticing the pattern.
it's a byproduct of the digital era. The average boxing fan is a pretty good timekeeper.
The timing of this move upstairs is impeccable.
Look, people are sick of being given the runaround. In a nutshell, that's what it is. And the best that Stephen Fulton can do is stop talking about fighters that he has no intention of fighting. Stop talking about fighters that neither he nor his team, his management, and his promoters have made any effort to make fights with. Because to my knowledge, Stephen Fulton hasn't made an offer to MJ, has he?
And listen, I'm not even saying that MJ made an offer to Stephen, but MJ's not the one taking to social media to lay the blame at the feet of Stephen Fulton.
MJ Akhmadaliev, the only other unified super bantamweight champion, he's not playing the blame game, and Stephen is. And it's obvious why.
You're gonna stay behind your borders. You're only gonna fight guys that are on your side of the street. You know what? That's fine. That's fine.
Whatever. But then stop talking about everybody else's fighters that are on other sides of the street, because it was Stephen Fulton that got the ball rolling for all of this Inoue versus Fulton talk. You know, he started all of that.
Only so that when that conversation finally begins to gain traction, he's en route to a different division to fight a guy that he already fought.
Are we now expected to engage in tedious back and forth arguments between warring factions of fans on the premise that it's someone's fault that Stephen Fulton didn't fight these guys, that Stephen is willfully moving up in weight?
You shouldn't have made all those empty promises.
Because it was you who created that expectation. Stephen Fulton says that it's the American fight fans that are lambasting him, that have him at his wit's end. But you're the one that made those fans all of those empty promises, unifying this division, wiping out Naoya Inoue.
Who made all those empty promises?
You're not going to fight those guys, so stop talking about them.
You were never going to fight those guys.
If you're set to campaign as a featherweight moving forward, then there's no reason you should ever bring up Inoue or MJ Akhmadaliev moving forward. And it really is as simple as that.
Don't give me the whole the dog ate my homework bit. Nobody wants to hear that.
You're either going to fight these guys or you're not. And if you're not, there's no reason you should be bringing them up.